All right, so Matt, I was having trouble coming up with a joke this week for reptiles, for tonight's show, because I try to always kind of tie them into the topic, whatever. So I found this number, and I gave this number a call to get some advice, and I thought it would really help out. But the guy who answered the phone said, "Sir, that's not what Gatorade is for."
Oh, man.
Yep. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Graveyard. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Adam.
And my name's Matt.
Now, pull up a tombstone or settle into your casket and get comfortable, because this is Graveyard Tales. All right, everybody, here we are again. Thanks for sticking around during our dark week. We're back at it again after taking a little break. Now, that doesn't mean we take a break from work.
That's right.
We're still working. We just didn't post anything. So
still working. See, this is where we really get deep into the time slip.
Yeah, right.
We got to be careful what we say. It's like, what the hell are these guys talking about? This happened, forever ago. Oh,
yeah,
wait.
Exactly. They recorded it forever ago. They just didn't put it out till now. So Matt, how you holding up with the whole quarantine mess?
The kids are about to drive me insane.
Yep.
I mean, I can't even describe. And I know that I'm speaking to so many parents out there that know what I feel. And, it's much worse for you and Ashley than it is for us, because we still have to go to work every day.
Yeah.
We get up just like any other day, and we have to trudge our butts out to work. But the kids are home.
Right.
And so that means that we show up to our home, and it has been turned into romper room.
It's like Lord of the Flies.
I'm telling you, I look around and I'm like, have you seen our trash can? We keep it right here. It's been right here for the better part of 10 years. It has not moved, and yet there is trash 3 feet from it. I'm like,
right.
You got close. You got so close. Why could you not extend your arm and allow this trash to fall in the can that has not moved?
Right.
And you're just looking around and you're like, there's a bowl of milk where one of them's had cereal hours ago. And you're like, the sink has not moved.
Right.
It's in the same spot. And, so it's an everyday routine that the first 30 minutes that I spend are either spent cleaning house, yelling at the kids, or both.
Right.
Thank God, Matt, you are the worst, most impatient parent. I'm not. I just, I have a lot of kids and I'm over it.
Right. Well, I gotta tell you this, Matt. I think I alluded to it earlier today in a text, but Michael's aunt got him a air horn for Easter.
Oh, sweet.
So, yeah.
She doesn't like y'all, does she?
Apparently not. So we told Michael, we said, no, you can't do this in the house. No, we're not doing that. So I put it up on top of the refrigerator, right? And that's usually where we put things so that he can't get them. Well, I'm sitting back here in the graveyard working today. Ashley is a few rooms over working, and she's on a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
And next thing we know, Michael has walked up behind her with the air horn and went during her meeting. So I pert near crap myself because I didn't know what was going on. I can only imagine what she did jumping out of her skin. But I don't know how he got that off the refrigerator, first of all. and secondly, why? She's working, and you're going to come up and blow an air horn behind her?
Don't matter.
Yeah. I was like, oh, my Lord.
That makes it even better, really.
Yeah, that's true. It's more fun that way.
Either that or if she would like been in the bathroom and he was hiding in the shower. That would have been that was the only way I can imagine it being better. I remember that we used to do this, I mean, I have two of my children are legally adults. So that gives you an insight as to how long I've been doing this parenting thing. But there was a time when they were little that you had the birthday parties at people's houses. Now, if your kid is invited to a birthday party, it's back to it's at the bowling alley, it's at the roller rink, it's at the jumpy place, whatever. Mm-hmm. Which that's a fantastic thing. $300 to have the party and you don't have to clean it up.
Right.
I'm all in. But I can remember, I got one kid like a bullhorn that had all these sound effects. And another time we got him this like silly putty gift pack that had like glow in the dark silly putty and smelly silly putty and all that stuff. And it was like 6 eggs of silly putty. He opens up and is like, all right, silly putty. And I look at his dad and I go, I don't like you.
Yeah.
and I hate your carpet.
Right. Right.
I'm just giving you a reason to have to change it.
Right. Well, this air horn is going over to the aunt's house now, and it's just staying there.
Oh yeah. That's like when your kid opens the drum kit at Christmas. You're looking at the grandparents like, did I offend you at some point this year? What are you doing to me?
My parents gave him an old Pokemon watch. That digital Pokemon watch, and it's from like when Pokemon was out when I was a kid, so it's an antique.
Yeah.
Well, of course, batteries get put in it, and every 5 minutes it goes whoop whoop boo, yeah. And I've put it in a drawer downstairs so that I don't have to hear it. And I'll be sitting there watching TV in the morning, drinking coffee, and I hear woo, and I jump out of my skin. So they're still in trouble for that. My dad and stepmom are still in trouble for that. To get off our tangent, if y'all have had any troubles with your children during this quarantine, please let us know. We find it hysterical and would love to not be the only ones that are having these issues.
Yeah, that's right.
But on another note, we want to thank Podbelly, podbelly.com. It's a great network to be involved in, so go check them out. We'd also like to thank tonight's sponsor, Best Fiends. We will talk about them a little bit later. That's Friends without the R, Best Fiends. Also, you can find us on YouTube now. We have a YouTube channel. So you should just be able to type in Graveyard Tales and find us, Graveyard Tales Podcast, and find us. But there is a link at the top of the show notes. If you go down, scroll below the episode here, there's a link toward the top of the notes there that'll take you directly to our YouTube channel. Subscribe on there. We're trying to post the episodes the Monday after they drop on the podcatchers. The audio will go up on YouTube. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of those show notes, you'll find our sources where you can go follow our rabbit holes that we followed down to learn more about the topic that we weren't able to cover in the episode. So, Matt, on that note, what are our sources about this week?
Our sources are about reptilians.
This is going to be good.
And how they are apparently controlling the world.
Yes, they are.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I literally. I've got one in my house right now. And
you are not woke.
I'm thinking that, this thing, I'm going to get up one morning and he's going to be sitting on the couch, smoking a pipe, reading the newspaper, and he's going to be going, well, I just figured it was time to let you in on the secret.
Yep. Like, I do appreciate the crickets that you've been delivering for the past few weeks.
He's probably pissed because we have switched her from crickets to worms.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you can go broke buying crickets for a 2-foot long bearded dragon.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're talking about reptilians, and I found this number many times, and I don't really know. They've kind of come up with this number. They've extrapolated a lot of hearsay to come up with this number, but
data in quotes.
Yes. As of 2013, it's estimated that around 12 million Americans believe that reptilian beings control the government. And
that's a lot of millions, man.
And some go farther to say that they believe that they themselves have had contact with alien lizards.
Whew.
Yeah, that's like 12 million.
Yeah.
I would have probably believed 12.
Yeah, or a million maybe.
Maybe. But why? Why would that many people be convinced? Or even if they're not convinced, even if they're just entertaining the idea that reptilian beings run the world, or much less run the U.S. government.
Mm-hmm.
What on earth could have prompted such a belief? That is what we're going to get into tonight.
That's the crux of it.
And we're gonna talk about, how to spot a reptilian. We're gonna describe what they're like, and we're gonna even talk about some famous people that are believed to be reptilian. So
it's going to be a good one.
Sit back. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, buddy. So we got to talk, we got to talk about the history of this whole thing. And you know me, I'm a history buff. So when we get a topic that we're looking at, I try to find some of the earliest recorded data on whatever it is we're talking about to, kind of bring a little context to things. Well, one thing I found on Gaia, and I'm sure everybody who listens to our show knows what Gaia, the website Gaia is. I mean, it's out there, been out there for a while, and you can find they got a lot of stuff on there that pertains to kind of our realm.
Yeah, if it's strange, bizarre, science fiction-y, anything like that, you can bet there's a dozen articles on Gaia about it.
And I love it. I love Gaia. So what does Gaia say about reptilians and reptile aliens? And they say no other alien species strikes as much fear in the human psyche as the reptilian. These beings, snake-like in appearance and malevolent by nature, are the stuff of nightmares. Is it possible that reptilian humanoids are the source of the devils and demonic entities who have tortured humanity since early history? Many alien researchers and contactees postulate that these lizard creatures may have been the mythological characters spoken of in numerous ancient religious texts and folk beliefs. So, we've got to take a look at some of those different mythologies, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So lay it on us.
All right, here we go, laying it on you. So, reptilian humanoids or anthropomorphic reptiles have appeared in folklore, fiction, and conspiracy theories. A lot of cultures have legends of creatures that are part human, part reptile. And one of the first historical depictions of reptilian humanoids was in ancient Egypt. There was a deity named Sobek who had the head of a crocodile, and he was depicted with similar traits to a crocodile. Like he was aggressive and very animalistic and everything. So you can look at these old Egyptian depictions of their gods, and there is one with a reptilian head. You've seen it all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's pretty common. And there's not just in ancient Egypt. You see them in other cultures too.
Right. And just to preface a lot of these, there are a lot of names of deities from other languages that I'm going to mispronounce. So I apologize up front. I won't do it for every one of them, but I'm going to apologize up front that I'm going to take my best stab at it, and you get what you get out of my southern tongue.
Yeah. Sobek was an easy one.
Right. That was easy. And this next one I have heard and is pretty easy, because in South Asia and Southeast Asian mythology, the Naga are semi-divine creatures which are half human and half serpent. So if you were originally of Asian descent, you probably have heard of the Naga your whole life. It's a very prevalent deity there in Asia. Now, in Chinese mythology, there exists a special reverence for reptilian creatures. Dragon kings symbolize the power of the four elemental corners, shape-shifting into humans at will, and they are pulled by celestial dragons in their heavenly chariots. In Islamic mythology, the jinn, who we've discussed a little bit in other episodes, are creatures of smokeless fire who sometimes appear as snake-like beings. Now, the jinn were created by God and exist under the same rules as mankind. So, a little more human than alien in that sense.
Yeah.
Now, in the Bible, there are also claims that the snake from Genesis was in fact a reptilian being who convinced Eve to break her oath to God by tasting the forbidden fruit of knowledge. So, before we continue, I have to ask the question, are these all just different representations of reptilian aliens described in the parlance of the time?
Or are they aliens at all?
Right. Is it something else? Is it, just mythology? Is it just the ancient reverence for lizards, reptiles, snakes, stuff like that they see a power in them and they don't know how to explain, or they do know how to explain, and they're putting them up to godly status because a tiny little snake can kill a human, know?
Yeah.
Or was it something that has lived on Earth since before humankind?
I think that concept comes from dinosaurs.
Yes.
There's a lot of idea that, dinosaurs were here first. Humans came much later.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stories about dinosaurs everywhere.
Yeah.
We hear it all the time.
I mean, even now, you think about it. Jurassic Park didn't just, bring dinosaurs back. They really never left. It was just a new way of telling the story. It was just a way to bring them into modern times. But yeah, I think humans' fascination with the idea that, reptiles ruled the earth. I think if you, of course, now we know that dinosaurs actually had more in common with modern day birds than they actually did with reptiles. But, that aside, this idea that reptiles they rule. They were the dominant species at the time, from the smallest ones to the ones that were, bigger than houses. They were dominant. And so, a lot of times I think this reverence that we see, in ancient culture, it stems from a lot of that. When when they would find dragon,
we've done that episode.
When they would find dinosaur bones, they may not understand, exactly what they're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they found, a bone to, a T-Rex. Can you imagine? What the heck was this? This must have been a dragon, which would be a reptile, which would say, well, these things, they were bad news, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we don't see these walking around anymore. And then some guy's like, are you sure we don't?
Right.
So, yeah, well, I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
Well, and I left this theory off of the note so that I could throw it at you at the appropriate time. and I think this is the appropriate time. There is a theory that lizards or dinosaurs from then did not fully die off and they went underground. And they evolved into humanoid type, anthropomorphic type beings, stood upright a lot, could crawl, but they developed into two-legged beings.
Mm-hmm.
They became smart and they waited out the period until they could emerge again, the whole time evolving to a path very similar to how we evolved. And they arose from the ground, and now they walk among us. They're able to shapeshift, and we don't know it, but it's the underground reptilian race that has lived on Earth since before humans, because they were there when the dinosaurs were there, and they just evolved and became intelligent. And there are some ancient people's stories that go along with that, reptilian people rose from the ground and taught the humans.
And, science and researchers have actually taken real dinosaur species and evolved them, through computer-generated evolution to show that at least the idea that a dinosaur could evolve to be an upright, more humanoid type creature is not entirely preposterous.
Right.
Right. There were plenty of bipedal dinosaurs that had enough characteristics that if they just evolved a little more,
right,
that all of a sudden you're seeing something that looks far more like a human reptile combo than just a reptile or just a human.
Right, exactly. And one of these ancient cultures that believe this is the ancient Aboriginal people of Australia. There is a lizard god of Australia whose name literally means flycatcher. And the Aranda of Central Australia say that the world was originally covered by the ocean with only a few hills protruding from the saltwater. On the slopes of these primeval hills lived the Relia Manarinja, which means two grown together. These underdeveloped beings had their eyes and ears closed. Instead of a mouth, they had a small hole. Their fists were closed, and their arms and legs were both attached to the trunk. Now, for a long time, they lived in this symbiotic state. Then the level of the waters fell, and Mangar Kunja, a lizard ancestor, came and separated them with a stone knife. Afterward, he cut all the openings, giving them eyes, ears, nostrils, and so on. So if you look at this as, okay, a lizard went underground, lizard race went underground and started to develop, well, during the, when the world was covered mostly by water, when we didn't have ice caps on either end like we do now, the water level would have been higher. So when this water started to refreeze at the poles, could a reptilian being that had evolved to be intelligent come out and, kind of started this legend? Not exactly how this says, but could it have taught early humans things, And if we're going down this train of thought, stop throwing things at the speakers, people. This is a possibility if we're going down this train of thinking,
Yeah. I mean, this is a topic, what we're talking about right now. It's a topic where you really have to open your mind.
Absolutely.
If you're just completely closed-minded to this, then this all sounds like a whole bunch of junk.
Yep.
But if you'll just kind of open your mind to the possibility, then you can see the formulation of these theories. I'm not telling you to believe it. I'm just telling you, don't just dismiss it.
Do like you would during a fictional superhero movie. Suspend disbelief for a little while.
Exactly.
And let's discuss this, as if these are plausible theories, just like an alien came down and is super strong and he flies around Earth and can, rip steel in half, and they call him Superman, and he works at a newspaper. Let's suspend disbelief for a little bit and let's talk about this. So another ancient race or peoples that people talk about is the Anunnaki of Mesopotamia. And if you don't know who the Anunnaki is, at least by the name, then you haven't watched the History Channel at all. Because they talk about it all the time.
Yeah, they do.
Now, this says, while the ancient Anunnaki were nearly always represented in a humanoid form, numerous traits indicate clear differences between the Anunnaki and ordinary humans. Now, the facial features of the ancient Anunnaki gods were always well hidden thanks to the large beards, and even though their facial features indicate a similarity with humans, there are many aspects that have led numerous researchers to suspect there is something off with the depiction of these gods. Many believe that there is a clear connection between the ancient Anunnaki and representations of reptilian beings on Earth. So this is going along the same lines as what we talked about originally, that this is not an ancient reptilian race that was here. This is a race that, a reptilian alien race that has come here and kind of blending in. Now this says, interestingly, the word used to describe the ancient Anunnaki in ancient Mesopotamia is Sir, S-I-R, which translated, it means dragon or big serpent. But there are quite a few details which hint towards a reptilian origin of the Anunnaki beyond the symbolism of the snake or dragon. Among the thousands of mysterious artifacts and Sumerian statues of the gods found on site, researchers discovered numerous representations of, quote, the mother goddess of fertility. Now, the only thing off here is the fact that the statues of the mother goddess of fertility show discrepancies which are highly unusual. While the figurines display an anthropomorphic body, the heads of the statues are anything but human. They have clear zoomorphic traits. Both male and female figurines display lizard-like characteristics. They have elongated faces, elongated skulls, large oval eyes, and broad shoulders. So go look that up. If you look up the picture of that, you will see that looks like a representation of what we would consider an alien nowadays.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about some other, at least one other thing here. The name Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl literally means feathered snake or feathered serpent. Now, the meaning of his local name in other Mesoamerican languages is similar. The Maya of the Yucatan knew him as Kukulkan. The Quiche Maya of Guatemala as Gucumats. Now, both names can be translated to feathered snake or feathered serpent. So, and you look at a lot of these, they talk about this snake that could fly, that, if you search ancient alien gods, Quetzalcoatl and Kukulkan will come up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that Quetzalcoatl is the one that they believe on his tomb has him in a spaceship driving the spaceship.
Yeah.
They swear that that's what it is. Well, the feathered serpent deity was important in art and religion in most of Mesoamerica for close to 2,000 years. Now, from the pre-classic era up until Spanish conquest, civilizations worshiping the feathered serpent included the Olmec, the Mixtec, the Toltec, the Aztec, who adopted it from the people of Teotihuacan and the Maya. So this is ancient belief in a reptilian or a snake god.
Mm-hmm.
The cult of the serpent in Mesoamerica is very old, and there are representations of snakes with bird-like characteristics as old as the Olmec Pre-Classic, which is 1150 to 500 BC. So we have these. I mean, it's ancient.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has seen a representation of this. The winged serpent. I don't. I mean, it's funny that they show up in so many different cultures, and this idea that the Aztecs and the Mayans were an advanced culture, but yet
right.
this was their belief. So it really does kind of make you wonder what led them to this. I mean, did they just make it up? That doesn't seem reasonable, because they were such an advanced culture.
And for so many to believe that and make it up, make up the same thing,
right? And it obviously it doesn't seem like it was Eastern influence,
right?
Because the Spanish didn't show up, with a whole bunch of symbols that had winged serpents. I don't know. Maybe they did. I've never seen anything like that. So they didn't get it from that. They discovered it when they arrived. So it is very strange. It does make you think, what prompted this belief? What prompted these images and these statues and these carvings that, we're seeing just this repetition of lizard-like reptilian creatures, winged or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, some people say that these creatures, the reptilian aliens, actually originate from the star system of Draco. And if you look it up, a lot of people will call them, Draco aliens, or Draco is always in the description somewhere, because they believe that's the star system that they come from. Now, we got to talk about what these reptoids or reptilian beings look like. If you're going to know if one's around you, you got to know what they look like. So they range from 5.5 to 9 feet tall. They have lean, firm bodies with powerful arms and legs, and they have long arms with 3 long fingers and an opposable thumb. Now, their feet have 3 toes and 1 recessed 4th that is toward the back side of the ankle. So it kind of, looks like a claw kind of thing, with 1 toe pointing to the back.
Like a dinosaur.
Yeah. Now, the claws are short and blunt. This says they do not have nipples on their upper torso, nor do they have a navel. Which, I mean...
you just had to throw that in there, didn't you?
I did, and I'm still questioning. There's some of my notes that I may skip over a little later because it gets worse.
He's been trying to work nipples into a show for months. And
100 and something episodes.
Here it is.
Finally. Finally got to talk nipples, and it wasn't gratuitous. But, I mean, if you think about it, nipples and navels are very...
They're characteristics of mammals.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. They're very mammalian characteristics.
So, that would make you think, so they're not human. They're not even mostly human.
Right. They don't feed their young that way, and they're not connected like live birth with a navel. So are they egg born?
Yeah. You don't have an umbilical cord in an egg.
Right. So they say they have scaled skin that is usually greenish brown in color. Some also have coffee-colored scales that have dark green-colored rims. Now, the scales or scutes on their backs, thighs, and upper arms are usually larger. Their hands, abdomen, and face are covered with smaller scales, allowing for more flexibility. They have wide, lipless mouths, and the majority of them are reported to have differentiated types of teeth, including canines. So big, like fang things there. They don't necessarily have the molars, premolars, canines, and incisors that we have. Now, the reptilians have either large black eyes or they with vertical slits for pupils, or their eyes that are white with flame-colored vertical slits as pupils. Their heads are slightly conical in shape and have two bony ridges riding from their brow across their back across their back of that skull, the sloping skull as it goes down, and toward the back of their head. So they've got a double ridge on their head.
Yeah, well, it's because what you're describing is they don't have, stereo vision. Their eyes aren't necessarily focused forward. They're more to the side, like, what we would think of as a traditional, reptile.
Right. And this says that throughout history, these bony ridges on their head may have been misinterpreted as horns. Rather than seeing them as ridges, they thought, oh, these reptilian beings have horns. Mm-hmm. Now it says there appears to be no bridge between the reptilians' eyes. Their nasal openings are at the end of a small flattened nose and are described as two small slits that slant upwards in like a V formation. So they don't have these big old oval nose holes that we've got here. As I stick my finger up my nose.
So they weren't big nose pickers.
No, they didn't have a reason to be. If they got the tongue, they can just get up in there with their tongue.
That's why they have a forked tongue, so they can reach
exactly
and that V-shaped nose.
We're discovering things that science has not discovered.
That's right. Come on now. Get on our level.
So some experiencers have reported seeing small openings where ears are expected to be, but no flesh folds extending from the side of their heads, kind of like we have. So again, they have reptilian ears. They have ear holes, but no ear flappies.
Right.
Reptilian beings apparently have no body or facial hair. Occasionally, eyewitnesses observe reptilian beings with a thin, fleshy spines on their chin, like bearded dragons would have those little
yeah, they got them
pointy things on there, and from a distance they say these spines are often misidentified as hair. Reptilians have tails and non-tailed versions. The tails vary in size and are often observed as being held up off the ground, so they're not just dragging the tails, they're able to hold them up with some dexterity. They say their posteriors are either like that of a human with a vertical slit shielding their excretory orifice.
You can say it. It's their butthole.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes they got cheeks like we do, and sometimes they don't. To go off script here from this source. But yeah, so I guess not a lot of people have paid a whole lot of attention to the backside of these reptilian aliens. And the part that I'm deciding whether or not to talk about, I'm just going to touch on real quick. I'll say this. A lot of them are described as having cloacas rather than what we have. So rather than getting in graphic detail, if you know what a cloaca is, fantastic. You'll know what I'm talking about. If not, look it up. It'll explain it.
Google it. Yep.
Birds have cloacas.
Right.
A lot of reptiles now do have cloacas.
Yeah, they do. Bearded dragons do.
Right. So there you go.
Yeah. So, Adam's told us how, what these reptilian beings look like. But I mean, I've not ever seen what looked like a 9-foot lizard walking around in a 3-piece suit. You know,
Me either.
just like, what are you looking at? You know, you standing on the train, you know, going to work, carrying a briefcase. You know, we're not
this is
seeing
me, guy.
these, but there's a reason for that. It's because they have learned to disguise themselves as humans, and it goes way beyond just, you know, it's like E.T., you know, wearing the little hat and the wig and the dress. You know, that's not it. You know, that's not a good disguise. You know,
they're a little more sophisticated than that.
Yeah, they have either managed to cloak their appearance with some type of advanced technology to where they can appear human, or, you know, they have in some theories have managed to, I can't come up with a better term than possess a human being.
I think that's a decent term.
I mean, you know, they manipulate a human to be able to take them over. And I think that is more of the theory of how they've done this. So we'll get into that in a minute. But
it's like major chameleonism.
Yeah, you got it. But there's,
rather than changing color, they're changing body.
Yeah, but these theorists have come up with a way to identify if a human may or may not be a reptilian being, or have a reptilian being controlling them. So
look for the cloaca.
So look for the cloaca. That's right. That's right. But one feature is the predominance of green or hazel eyes that change color like a chameleon, or blue eyes. So
maybe Ashley's a reptilian.
Yeah, me too. So piercing eyes is another one, which I'm like, really? Okay. So piercing eyes, you know, that look like they're looking through you. True red or reddish hair. So I guess you're going to have to combine that with a lot of these other ones, because there's a lot of redheads walking around, and it doesn't, you find a lot of redheaded, green-eyed people. I mean, doesn't mean they're all reptilian.
Right.
You know, it might mean they're Irish. You know,
Yeah.
It doesn't mean all Irish people are reptilian. You know, it's just saying, you know, okay, you gotta have more than one of these. Okay.
Sure.
A sense of not belonging to the human race. I don't know that I've ever met anyone that I thought, you know, that guy, he really doesn't think he belongs to the human race.
Yeah, right. How do you determine that?
I mean, you're just having a casual conversation and this guy says something and you're like, wait, this guy, he doesn't think he's human. You know?
He's like, you know, Bob, I don't think I belong here. I'm not one of you humans.
That's right. You know, okay. Low blood pressure. Okay. So, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Low blood pressure. We'll just get a deep compassion for the fate of mankind.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, you know, a lot of these, that would mean that a lot of these naturists and these conservationists, they're all reptilian.
Yep.
You know, maybe that makes sense. I don't know. A keen sight or hearing, you know, somebody
Fighter
can see,
pilots.
you know, you meet this redhead and she can see really well and she can hear stuff from across the room. She tells you that she doesn't really think she belongs to the human race. You check her blood pressure and you're like, God dang, you know.
Yeah. I knew you were a reptile.
I finally meet somebody that I can connect with, and she's a reptile.
Right. I've told my mom for years that she was cold-blooded because she'd never warm, but I don't think that means she's a reptile.
Cold-blooded. Yeah. Or these make more sense. Psychic ability or ESP. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so they have some kind of second sight.
That is a theory that all aliens have that.
Yeah.
So
unexplained scars on their body, which I don't know who. If I see a scar on another person and they tell me about it, then it's no longer unexplained. What would make you think is like, what, they've got a scar and they can't tell you how they got it? Okay.
Right. And I don't normally ask people about their scars. I mean, it's not like hey, tell me about that, you know.
That's a conversation killer right there. But how'd you get that thing on your face?
Yeah, so, Bob, what happened to your nose? Tell me.
It's just usually not something that you want to bring up. You know?
No.
UFO connections. I don't know what it means by connections. You know, it's like, hey, man, if we need to get a UFO, I got connections. Right.
They got euphonauts on speed dial is what it is. And, hold on, I got this.
It's like guy's like, I got a used car dealership, you know. He's like, man,
yeah, right.
I could put you in something that'll get you to Mars and back in 10 hours.
You need a late model Venus rover? I got one of those. I got connections.
Man, how much of petrol for this thing? The capability to disrupt electrical appliances. Now,
that's me.
This may be me too, because I'm telling you, I am not a technologically dumb person. I am, in my opinion, I'm pretty savvy. I mean, you know, I can handle stuff, but there's one piece of equipment that I am doomed to screw up, and that is a copy machine. I touch a copy machine, and it's like, you know, oh, red alert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this guy, you know, I mean, I have literally torn up just about every copy. I don't go to my office every day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I go in there at the most once a week. So I'm in my office the other day, and the copy machine that's been there and tormented me for years now is no longer there. It has been replaced by a much larger, a much angrier. It's like this dark metal gray color. The other one was the weird off-white, you know.
Yeah, happy white.
It always had fingerprints on it where people had changed the toner and didn't wash their, you know, didn't wear gloves, and they
you hope it's toner.
Yeah, you look at it and you're like, yeah, this thing, you know, it hated me. But I looked at this thing, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little intimidated. I was like, oh, where'd the old copier go? Oh, we got this one.
Yeah, we just started getting to be friends.
This one looks like it means business.
Dude, I tell you, every time I go to Walmart or something like that, I tell the cashier that something's probably going to go wrong when I try to slide my card because electronics hate me. Every time. I got money in the bank, but your reader screws up or your computer screws up. Sorry, I mean, they hate me.
So, you know, I don't have red hair. I used to have reddish hair. The red that was in my hair is now gray. So there you go. I don't think I have piercing eyes. I do have green eyes. I'm pretty well settled that I'm a part of the human race. My blood pressure is higher than my doctor thinks it should be.
Mine too.
I don't really know that I have any psychic abilities. I've got a few scars, but I know where they all came from, and I couldn't really say I've got any UFO connections. But these last two, you know, they're the kicker. You know, the love of space and science and alien contacts. So, and we're not talking about those ones you can buy at Halloween where you can put them in your eye and you have the little weird alien eyes. You know, we're talking about, you've got a few people on your speed dial that somebody's like, who's Zork?
Yeah.
Your girlfriend gets your phone and she's like, listen, you know, Zork has been texting you all night and I want to know, who is this? You know?
Yeah. Mork from Ork has been calling for the past 3 days.
You know,
Nanu.
I'm making fun of a lot of this because some of this is just kind of like, what?
It's what we do, man.
I guarantee you, I know people that fit at least 7 or 8 of these criteria.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I worked with several of them.
But we're going to get into this in a little bit, where people, these conspiracy theorists have taken these characteristics and have projected them onto famous, well-known people, and the possibility that they may not be entirely human.
Right.
So we're gonna get into that. But we've talked about ancient history, Adam, and why we believe that people might consider the idea of reptilians, having some type of impact on ancient history. But why would people believe this now?
Well, we would be kicked out of the podcast community if we talked about...
We'd be excommunicated.
Exactly. If we talked about reptilians and we did not mention David Icke. And I bet all of y'all went, oh, yeah, David Icke. Yeah, I forgot about him.
How could you forget?
Right. So who is David Icke? Well, he's an English conspiracy theorist and former footballer. And this is English football. This is not American football. Right. So this is soccer. He was a soccer player. And he was a sports broadcaster. Now, he's the author of over 20 books and a lot of DVDs. So that tells you how long he's been doing it if he's got DVDs. And he's lectured in over 25 countries, speaking for up to 10 hours to audiences.
10 hours.
So lectured for 10 hours on this stuff.
I don't want to hear a lecture about anything for 10 hours.
I'm with you, man. I need bathroom breaks and food.
It makes my butt numb just thinking about it.
Right. My ADD goes crazy thinking about that. Originally working as a BBC television sports presenter, Icke claims he saw former British Prime Minister Ted Heath's eyes turn black while the two waited for a Sky News interview in 1989. In 1990, while spokesman for the Green Party, he visited a psychic who he said told him he had been placed on Earth for a purpose and would begin to receive messages from the spirit world. Now, the events led him to announce the following year that he was a, quote, son of the Godhead, and that the world would soon be devastated by tidal waves and earthquakes, a prediction he repeated on the BBC's primetime show Wogan. The show turned him from a respected household name into someone who had received widespread public ridicule.
And you can go and watch this.
Exactly.
I did, and
you need to.
I mean, this audience literally is just laughing.
They tore him apart,
laughing at this guy.
Yep, and they're laughing, and he says something like, I'm glad we could laugh because, laughter is good for the soul. And the host goes, but they're laughing at you, not with you. And he goes, that's fine.
We're not laughing at you. We're laughing near you.
Yeah, right. We're laughing about you, sir.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Yeah, go watch it if you haven't. When you're done here, go watch that interview. Just search David Icke interview and you'll find it.
It's there.
Now, Icke believes that the universe is made up of, quote, vibrational energy and consists of an infinite number of dimensions that share the same space. Okay, I'm with you.
I'm with you here.
So far, I'm with you. I can believe this. Now, he believes that an interdimensional race of reptilian beings called the Archons, or the Anunnaki, have hijacked the Earth, and that a genetically modified human Archon hybrid race of shape-shifting reptilians, also known as the, quote, Babylonian Brotherhood, the Illuminati, or the, quote, elite, manipulate global events to keep humans in constant fear so the Archons can feed off of the negative energy that this creates. Okay, starting to starting to back away from you here a little bit. This is, parts of that, okay, I can see, and other parts of that, they're starting to get a little on the woo side.
Yeah, woo.
Yeah. So he claims that many prominent figures belong to the Babylonian Brotherhood and are propelling humanity towards an Orwellian global fascist state or a new world order, a post-truth era where freedom of speech is ended. Ike believes that the only way this archontic influence can be defeated is if people wake up to, quote, the truth, and they fill their hearts with love.
Stay woke.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll notice that a lot of people who have this theory or similar theories, or their alien contactees, their statement is, you need to be happy and spread joy and love through the world.
Right. Hey, did you ever see the movie
That's a common
They
thread.
Live? The Roddy Piper?
No.
Okay. So, that whole idea that, there were all these alien beings disguised as humans. And, of course, Roddy Piper gets these glasses that allows him to see all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He looks at the sign, and it's like an ad for, cigarettes or something, and it says, like, obey.
I remember seeing, like, not a trailer, but, like, ads for that. I never saw that movie.
Yeah.
I remember that thing you're describing. I
don't remember them necessarily being reptilian. I can't recall. It's been a long time since I saw that movie. I just remember it has the best line where he walks in with the shotgun in the bank, and he says, "I have come here to chew bubble gum and to kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum." It's a great line. But that whole idea that they're promoting this sense of well-being, or this idea that everything is okay, and this human existence, it's all the things that you run into, it's all going to be fine, and if you just love one another and you get along and you're peaceful, it's this idea that it's mind control.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if we can herd these humans, into a group, we can control them, through advertising, through the media, and if we can infiltrate politics, then we can form laws and policies and guidelines, and they'll adhere to them because it's the government telling them to do so.
Right.
And that takes this conspiracy theory on a whole nother level, because the whole idea that we're sheep and the government just guides us in the direction that we're supposed to go, that they want us to go, and everybody just
talked about that in that secret societies episode we did.
Yeah, there's always that idea that there's some kind of underlying organization that runs everything. One group says it's the Masons, another group says it's the Skulls, this group says it's the Reptilians, whatever.
There's Illuminati.
Nothing is exactly what it seems. Yeah, the Illuminati. Nothing is what it seems. Everything is, you take it so far, it's like, okay, well, we live in the Matrix. Everything we experience is not real. It's all just variations on this same theme. So if the world is run by either alien beings or maybe some super race of reptilian creatures, they're not alien at all. They've just been here longer than the rest of us. And,
sure.
and they know how stuff works. And here comes along these regular humans, and they're just like, okay, we don't want to kill these things off, but
we can exploit this.
Yeah, we gotta control them in some fashion. We've got to know some of them, right?
Sure.
We got to know who they
You'd
are.
think.
There is a lot of this lighthearted humor that surrounds this celebrity as an alien thing, but some theorists put forth arguments as to why certain famous personalities may or may not be entirely human. Now, honestly, a lot of these arguments they're shaky at best, but they're fun. So we're going to take a look at them, and we're going to see just who's been in the crosshairs of the reptilian conspiracy. Adam, today was it was one of the most stressful days that I've had in a long time. And I just finally had to put everything up and grab my phone and sit down and play Best Fiends. I mean, it just allowed me to forget all of the stuff I was dealing with and just focus on playing this amazing little game.
Right. And that's very true. I do that myself a lot of times because it is a mental palate cleanser. And you can focus on these problem solving aspects of Best Fiends. And sure, it's a challenging puzzle game, but it's also a casual game. You don't have to be a gamer in order to play this. I'm definitely not a gamer. I know, Matt, you're not a gamer. You can play it for as little time as you want or as much time as you want. If you want to do like Matt does, and when he's having a rough day, pop on and play it for 5 or 10 minutes to clear your mind, great. If you want to sit down and play it for hours, you can do that too. I play it every night, and Ashley usually plays it every night too. It's something we do kind of before we go to bed, and we got a lot of people in the graveyard that play it, and you can connect with people. Once you reach a certain level, you can connect with people there and, share gifts and stuff with each other. So it's a great way to connect with your friends on Facebook. And, I'm up to almost to level 200. Ashley has blown past me, and I know that's about the same for you and Amanda, right?
Yeah, we're all chasing Amanda, and I'm bringing up the rear, but it's okay. I like the little time that I have to sit down and play with these amazing, cute little characters. I don't have to invest in a lot of time, and I'm still advancing through this game at my own pace. Sure. Because, like Adam said, it's casual, but it's fun, and it stimulates your brain, and it's a way to just shake everything off. And for me, it always inspires a little bit more creativity. So you too can engage your brain with fun puzzles and collect a ton of cute characters. Trust me, with over 100 million downloads, this 5-star rated mobile puzzle game is a must play. Download Best Fiends free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's Friends without the R, Best Fiends.
That's right. That's Friends without the R, Best Fiends.
Now, some celebrities have garnered attention due to their level of interest in certain areas. Remember, we brought that up when I was talking about, if you had an interest in space, and
people are going to say we're reptilians now, Matt.
Oh yeah, well,
I just have a feeling we're going to be labeled as reptilians.
Well, look, the next time somebody sees me come in there and screw up the copy machine, this guy, he's not human.
And see, all we're doing, Matt, we're spreading disinformation so that we're joking about it, and we're making people not believe it, while the whole time we're reptilians ourselves.
we had no idea.
We're thickening the plot here.
We're either reptilians or we're being controlled by them, one or the other.
Either way, I'm fine.
But as far as this interest in space, the names that come up, Elon Musk and Richard Branson. And both have a pretty significant stake in getting into space. Branson won the $10 million Ansari X Prize as the first privately developed manned rocket to reach space. As of September 2019, his company Virgin Galactic is offering suborbital flights at an altitude of 50 miles. So, on one of these flights, passengers get to see the Earth from a perspective that humans rarely see, and even experience a few minutes of weightlessness before the spacecraft lands. And Elon Musk, he not only continues to work on sending his SpaceX rockets, beyond the stratosphere, but he's developed products, from self-driving battery-powered cars to personal flamethrowers.
Well, and if you just listen to Elon Musk talk, that man is, he's lizard-like. I mean, I love him. He's my boy. Yeah. Me and Elon Musk, we're like this. We're tight. But that man has got to be reptilian if you listen to him speak for any length of time.
Yeah, I mean,
I love him, but dang.
He's different. All I know is I want a flamethrower.
Oh, me too.
I mean,
it's not a flamethrower. It's called not a flamethrower, so he could sell them. He couldn't sell them if he called it a flamethrower, they wouldn't let him sell it. So he had to call it
if you call it a flamethrower. Look, it's not a gun.
Yeah, he had to sell it as not a flamethrower so that he could actually sell the thing.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. I love that though.
Yeah.
Just imagine, the first one, it's like, I want to throw fire on these guys over there.
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
I don't want to get close. Can I propel it some way? Fire. Fire. Sorry, that was my best Beavis.
I love it.
Sorry.
So, I don't know. Is it much of a stretch to think that, these billionaires are really aliens or some kind of super race? I mean, they come up with all these ideas and things that, it's like, if this was easy to come up with, everybody'd be doing it.
Sure.
So maybe they are working on a non-human level. But some folks make this conspiracy list based on their looks. And, Adam and I, we definitely are not people that, we can't judge anybody on their appearance at all. So,
you speak for yourself, Matt. I am beautiful.
Yeah, that's right. But, you look at some people's unique appearance and to these folks, it makes them a little suspect. Karl Lagerfeld, for example. Now, you never see him without his sunglasses on, and he's got that just platinum white hair. It's always
right.
Perfect. And not to mention that, that he's got his fashion sense. I mean, he dresses like that he shops on another planet, and the same could be said for David Bowie, who was unique enough without taking it a step further when he transformed into Ziggy Stardust.
Right.
Benedict Cumberbatch, he's another one. His appearance to some is very similar to descriptions of alien beings. And if you kind of look at him, you're kind of like there's something different about him. You look at his eyes and you're kind of like, you're different. He's not ugly. He's not weird. It's just you look at him and you go, there's something about you.
And with a name like Benadryl Cucumber Patch, you have to think he's not from around here.
Benadryl Cucumber Patch. That's one of the better ones I've heard. But it's kind of like walking up and seeing a guy with no eyebrows.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's wrong, but you're looking at him like, yeah, I'm going to take the next elevator.
Man, your forehead is extremely large. What happened?
But Anderson Cooper, he's another one that people they've actually said that Anderson Cooper is an alien vampire because of his pale complexion and just the way he looks. And Anderson Cooper, he's an all right looking guy. But, I've always thought that Tilda Swinton looked a little alien-like. She's another one of those. You kind of look at her and you're like, you look different. You're not ugly. But
knowing what I know about Tilda, she'd go, hell yeah, I am.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. She embraces it, and she does.
Oh yeah,
Tilda Swinton embraces this. What people say about this.
I love that about her. I mean, that.
She goes full bore after it. I mean,
it's fantastic.
Read her Twitter account. I mean, she's after it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's behavior that triggers this belief that they may not be necessarily human, and a lot of it is this bizarre eccentricity. I mean, it's just like, why do you do this? Why do you do it? Especially in the music business. And that's, this strange talent, that these people just seem to rise, and they have just unbelievable talent. And then you see them, and you get to experience a part of how they are, and you're like, man, they're so weird. I love.
Man, I worked in the music business for 15 years, and if aliens are going to be among the humans, it's going to be in the music industry.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Man, dealing with some of those people, it's like, you are not from Earth, are you? Wanting that? You want what now?
But let's say, for example, like Madonna. Now, her rise to fame put a spotlight on her strange, outlandish behavior. And Lady Gaga is like Madonna on steroids.
Oh, yeah, she's an alien.
I mean,
definitely.
Wearing a dress made of meat, arrive at the red carpet in an egg, a la, Mork from Mork. At what point do you say, I'm super talented and people enjoy my work, so do I really need to do all this stuff to keep myself in the news?
Right.
I mean, maybe it's considered normal behavior where they come from.
I don't know. I mean, that's just how you go to red carpets, is in an egg, wearing a meat suit.
That's right. It's like, why aren't the rest of you in eggs? What's the problem here? Prince.
Did you see those people? They were not wearing a meat dress. How did they come to an event like this and they were not wearing a meat dress?
I know. But Prince is another one. Probably one of the most prolific songwriters in history. On top of being an amazingly talented performer. And he also sported this elaborate wardrobe that appeared to have cosmic undertones, and his personality was weird. It's like he was often unapproachable and very aloof, and then suddenly was totally down to earth, pun intended. Prince, he fits the bill,
And his talent level puts him, I mean, that guy was so talented, he had to have been off planet somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, it just, strange, weird lifestyle and uber talented. It's just, I don't know. Maybe he wasn't human. But and he was a pretty talented basketball player, if you believe Charlie Murphy. That cat can ball, But the one that takes the cake in this category is none other than the sequin-gloved, skin-lightening, baby-dangling, monkey-owning, moonwalking king of pop, Michael Jackson. I mean, a lifestyle that few could even try to understand. Michael Jackson to this day is considered one of the most talented and most eccentric people that ever walked the planet. And theorists present the idea that their reptilian/alien intelligence gives them the talent to be so influential through music, but the extra attention gives the public a peek into their strange, otherworldly personality and lifestyle.
Yeah, he's another one that if talent is anything, he was so talented that he could, it could be alien intellect.
But, this idea that how do we influence? If you're going to buy into this, how would this either alien race or super ancient race control humans? And it's through influence, and music, for centuries has influenced human, emotion and behavior, time and time and time again. So using the music industry to somehow present a message or to promote harmony or peace or whatever, it doesn't really sound that far off base. But again, you've got to open your mind to this. You can't just sit here and listen to this and be like, nope. Have a little fun, think outside the box and, think like a conspiracy theorist. If you're not one, think like one and go, yeah, I could see where this could happen. Sure, why not? But public influence is not the only power these beings seem to be after. You can only do so much. But many political figures have been listed as possible reptilian humanoids whose positions of power give them control over the rest of humanity. Queen Elizabeth has been discussed as being reptilian. I mean, just look at her. She's 93.
Yep.
She doesn't look or act 93.
And still spry as ever.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Prince Charles has pretty much given up on her dying anytime soon.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, can you imagine, she's like, turning 80, and I can see Prince Charles over there just rubbing his hands together. Anytime now. Anytime I'm going to be the King of England.
Not realizing she was a reptilian alien and is going to outlive him.
That's right, to the point where he's like, man, by the time I get to be here, I'm going to be too old.
Mm-hmm.
And she's still going. So I could see where people would begin to think that kind of stuff. George W. Bush also makes this list, which in reality, I don't know that I see that.
Man, if he has trouble speaking words sometimes, like coming up with the right words, he might be not able to interpret English well, and he's still speaking his alien language.
Maybe. But it took a lot of strategery for him to get where he was.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But again, with the conspiracy theory, a lot of people believe that he was able to orchestrate a war against Iraq that met his own personal agenda.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people in history that have tried to do something similar and been unsuccessful, and a lot of people believe that he was. It all depends on how you look at it. But probably the most common political name to surface in the reptilian discussion is Clinton, Bill, and Hillary, both.
I did not come down from that spaceship. I did not.
All joking aside, the Clintons are polarizing individuals, to say the least.
Sure.
And there are more stories about they've got plenty of stories about them individually and together. So I think all of the conspiracies that follow them around just are ripe for the picking when it comes to somebody going, there's reptilians in the government. Well, who?
Mm-hmm.
The Clintons, for one. Okay, if you're going to buy into this, I'd say it begins and ends with the Clintons being reptilians.
Yeah, that's the one I hear all the time.
I'm sorry, I can't say it without laughing.
This whole thing, people, is very humorous to Matt and I. This whole thing that these political figures, these musicians are reptilian humanoids. If you haven't been able to tell by as much as we've been joking this whole episode, this is way out there stuff to Matt and I. And it's hilarious
fringy.
that people believe this.
It is way fringy. But
now maybe one day we will be proven wrong, and Matt and I will eat our words.
That's right.
But one of them has to come out on national television before I'll believe
That's
it.
right.
And then I'll still kind of question it.
I'm gonna have to see the lizard man in the suit, behind the podium going, all right, here it is. It's what you got.
It's like in The Simpsons when Kang and Kodos take over, and they take over the bodies of Bob Dole and Clinton, and they run, and they're like up there talking, and they've dropped the guys of one being Bob Dole and one being Clinton, and they're now just full on alien up there. That's what it's going to take. I'm going to have to see an alien up on the podium leading the country,
but
named Kang.
But like I said in the intro, there are people that believe that they have had direct contact with reptilian beings. So one blogger named UFO Chick reported on her personal experience with reptilian beings. Now she said, and this is a quote, That night, I awoke in my energy body, laying beside a reptilian being on a bed with two grays, assuming she means two gray aliens, mentally holding me down. I broke loose and attacked. I tried to kill the bastard with my bare hands. Then I was back in my physical body, feeling the reptilian slam my energy body's head into a wall. I laughed and taunted him. Suddenly, my energy body came back. I was whole, elated, and triumphant. I hope you guys understand that better than I did. And this is about the 20th time I've read it. But apparently she did go on and describe what she meant by this, in an email exchange with the Atlantic Wire. She explains the difference between her energy and physical bodies. She says the most common ways the reptilians access humans are through the dream state, posing as a romantic or sexual partner, or through drug or alcohol abuse, which lowers the body's energy vibration and allows access. I'm not really sure that explains it exactly, but Dana compares reptilian control with demonic possession, as we mentioned earlier, suggesting that claims are in fact manifestations of, possession. That this dream state interaction between reptilians and humans are benign until either the human wants them to stop or the dreams become nightmares. So what I take from this is that this energy body is maybe your soul, for lack of a better term. What makes you, that your body is just the physical, your physical vehicle, and the soul is you, or your energy body is you. And
it's like what happens when you like remote view or have an out of body experience.
Yeah, bingo. That's it. So the reptilians supposedly can affect the energy body and then take control of the physical body. And so she says the end goal of the reptilian is to inhabit and control the human's physical body for its own use. Now, they are beings who wish to access our realm and cannot in their own bodies. She says there are no reptoids. There are just regular people under the control of reptile-like entities from elsewhere in the universe. So according to UFO chick theory, that the reptilians are not really here. They are somewhere else in the universe, but they have the ability to take over the human body and
remote control it.
Yeah. And just kind of, okay. But you see all these videos of these people like Justin Bieber standing in court, and everybody sees his eyes kind of go, It's like the thing in Men in Black where the guy's eyelids do that. His pupils
they blink sideways.
Yeah, he's like, he's breathing. Okay, whatever. Are they here or are they not here? UFO Chicks theory says they're not here. They can just kind of remote control, as Adam said, the human bodies. But she goes on to describe how they do this. She says this may happen through manipulation, lies, and false promises. It's like the old idea of making a deal with the devil, or through malevolent means, which the human can only tolerate for so long before they give in, which sounds more like a demonic possession. I can only deal with this inner torment so much before I just have to give up and let them take control.
And we talked about that in the beginning, that some people mistook like reptilian humanoids or reptoids as demons or devils.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Dr. Susan Clancy has studied post-traumatic stress disorder while earning her PhD at Harvard. She's written 2 books on the subject of belief in alien interaction, including Abducted: How People Come to Believe They Were Kidnapped by Aliens. Now, she also spoke with the Atlantic Wire, and she suggests that Dana, the UFO chick, experiences with reptilians were similar to others that Clancy had interviewed. Now, Dr. Clancy says, in most cases, the belief emerges as an explanation for unusual or disturbing symptoms or experiences. For example, episodes of lost time while driving, nosebleeds, bruises on the body, sexual problems, loneliness, sleep paralysis, and other sleep problems. People already familiar with widely available cultural scripts of alien abductions begin to search for answers to their own weird experiences. And the result? I wonder if what I read or watched is what happened to me. So, Dr. Clancy is essentially saying that some type of trauma in your life or some, disturbing condition or situation has caused people to latch on to the idea that they've been abducted by aliens because their situation may fit into something they've watched on television or read.
Right.
We can go back to the Betty and Barney Hill case where they had this, where they had arrived home, they couldn't account for this amount of time. They were like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. We were just right here and now we're here. Where did all this time go? And I think everybody can say they've experienced that, even if it's just for a few minutes, where your brain just kind of takes a vacation for a little bit and you just kind of like, what the hell was I just doing?
You don't know what happened for that short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to everybody, but if it happens for a longer period of time, it can be much more disconcerting. And what Dr. Clancy is saying is, so you watch a show where somebody says they were abducted by aliens and they talk about lost time, and then you begin to think that happened to me. That's what's wrong with me. That's what's going on with me. You have unexplained nosebleeds. I was probed. Somebody put something in my nose. They were trying to look at my brain or something. Or you wake up and you've got bruises on your body and you don't know why. You're like, I was abducted by an alien and they tortured me, or I was held captive, and these bruises are indicator that I was tied to something. So a lot of people, what Dr. Clancy says, they manifest this idea based on things that they don't truly understand, things that are very disturbing to them. Now, she goes on to clarify that much like the alien abduction interviewees that she's spoken with, people with belief in reptilian control often use this to interpret a trauma in their life. She suggests that the conflation of alien belief with religious overtones is also common, as in Dana's description of reptilians having, quote, had many names throughout history, including demons. Clancy says most people believe in God or a God, and there's no scientific data to support that belief either. You just substitute angels with aliens, and abductions could be a 21st century religious experience.
Yeah.
So you had if you believe in angels and something weird happened, and I was contacted by angels. You have a different belief set, or, maybe this experience was not pleasant. Well, I was abducted by aliens. She's kind of saying that the two may not be so different. Now, she says they asked her if one who believes in abduction or contact or reptilians or whatnot, can they be reasoned away from it? And she says, you can argue someone away from a belief, but once they have actual memories, you can't. She says she's tried, which is a big mistake. And she says, usually a stream of expletives is what you get when you try this.
Right.
And what she means is, if I believe something, if I have manifested a memory in my mind that this really happened and I can describe it to you, then you're not going to be able to convince me that it didn't happen or that I'm wrong,
Right.
or that what I'm thinking is just a manifestation of some buried trauma. You're just not going to be able to convince me of that. She says the main problem that she sees is that these people want to believe that they were abducted by aliens or controlled by reptilians because it's exciting. You have a sense of a higher purpose. You're special. You know, you've got a larger meaning. It's hard to give that up in return for hard, cold, boring science.
Right. You are the quote son of the Godhead.
Yeah.
David Icke.
Who wants to believe that, you know, they're just living a regular life and they haven't been chosen by these superior beings?
Sure.
I mean, that sounds way more fun than just, you know, getting up and going to work every day.
Right.
But, you know, I like her thought process as a possible explanation for why some people would latch on to these ideas. And you know, we always ask, you know, at the end of every show, what do you believe? Well, I think we've pretty much told you what we believe when it comes to reptilians, that, you know, there's just so much that's hard to wrap your head around, this idea that, you know, that we're somehow being controlled or governed or guided by alien beings.
Right.
I'm
not saying that we're not sitting here saying we don't believe in aliens or that we don't believe aliens have been here or anything like
exactly.
that. We're simply stating that the fact that people say the world is being governed by a secret race of reptilian humanoids who have taken the form of people like the Queen of England and the President of the United States.
Exactly.
It's a little too far out there for us.
Yeah. I mean,
we don't have the proof of that yet.
You know, I mean, there's documented evidence that, you know, reptiles have played a part in developing cultures. And, you know, we discussed that, you know, earlier on in the show, but this modern idea and you know, for me, honestly, you know, David Icke, he's probably the biggest reason I can't buy into this. And it's funny because if you listen to him speak just normally, you think that, God, this is a sane, normal individual until he starts talking about this. And then you're kind of thinking, where are you going with this, man?
Well, and there's a lot of stuff he talks about in his lectures that are not about this. And, you know, this is a piece of it, but it's not the whole thing. So it's like you can get into one of his lectures with the other stuff and you can go, yeah, I see that. I get that. Yep. And then he brings this up and you're like, I'm out.
He's not a stupid man. He's quite intelligent. And you can tell just by listening to him. Misguided, maybe. But you know, he's not ignorant by no means. But I think the idea of this theory, and of course him saying he's son of the Godhead, just kind of makes me shy away from this whole reptilian idea. You know, not that there's not reptilian beings at somewhere in this universe. I'm not saying that. I don't know that there's enough evidence to say either way, but like Adam said, this idea that we're somehow controlled, I can't. You know, I can't.
It's hard.
But like I said, it's fun. It's fun to talk about this kind of stuff because it is so fringy. You know, and some of it, like I said, if you open your mind, you can go, yeah, I can see Elon Musk being from another planet.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
Yeah.
And,
you know,
and I get it. You know, I mean, I I could hold with the fact that there were reptilian humanoids that helped humankind out throughout the centuries, and they are still here. But I can't bring myself to take that extra leap to play with the idea that they are running the entire world. Right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can entertain the theory that they have been here and may still be here, but I can't take that extra step. I just can't yet. If there's proof that comes up later that, proves Matt and I wrong in our theory that they don't control the world, then okay, we'll backpedal at that point. That's, we're bound to backpedal on many things we've said. But, for now, I mean, my thinking is, okay, it's possible that they could be here on Earth, either from another world or have always been here. But that's as far as I'm willing to go.
Yeah, me too. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed our reptilian show. But
we did. We
had a lot of
fun.
We had a lot of fun, with the show. We had a lot of fun researching it too. But tell us what you think. If you may have a really wild reptilian story that we haven't touched on. So let us know. And the best way to do that is on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You just go and search Graveyard Tales and you'll find us. Check out our website while you're at it. It's graveyardpodcast.com. And on the website, you can learn more about Adam and myself. You can find links to purchase Graveyard Tales merchandise, everything from coffee mugs to baby onesies. And you can become a patron.
I'm wearing a baby onesie right now.
Man, you ought to see the view that I've got. It is disturbing.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. And as we ask every show, please go, and if you haven't already, rate and review us on iTunes. That is the easiest way for us to climb up the charts because it makes us easier to find and ultimately brings more people into the graveyard. So,
absolutely.
Until next time, we'll save you a seat in the graveyard.
See you soon.